The General Grand Chapter was founded on October 24, 1797, to unify existing chapters of Royal Arch Masonry under a set of guidelines to preserve and protect the capitular degrees. The General Grand Chapter still serves that same purpose today, preserving true Royal Arch Masonry through a uniform ritual and chartering chapters both domestically and internationally that adhere to the true tenets of the York Rite. The General Grand Chapter is currently comprised of 43 states of the United States, the District of Columbia, Australia, Brazil, Canada, Croatia, England, France, Italy, Mexico, New Zealand, Paraguay, Romania, Scotland, and Togo. Preserving and protecting Royal Arch Masonry is incredibly important due to the large number of clandestine Masonic organizations, even in the York Rite. According to Christopher Hodap, author of Freemasons for Dummies, in the United States there are hundreds of clandestine Masonic organizations. The numbers internationally are just as staggering. What makes discernment even more difficult is that most of these groups get legal certificates of incorporation, and some even get granted nonprofit status. Most of them are also chartered, but always by a different clandestine group, making it often very difficult to determine if a group is legitimate or not. For example, here's the common Masonic square and compass logo, but with a key below it. This emblem belongs to the International Free and Accepted Modern Masons, a clandestine group. Their logo utilizes the all-familiar square and compass, but adds a key below it. Why? Because the organization lost numerous lawsuits to Prince Hall Masonry and added a key to their logo in an effort to avoid being sued again. In fact, their version of Royal Arch Masonry, including the full rituals, can be purchased on the internet by anyone. Don't underestimate the advantage of the General Grand Chapter protecting legitimate York Rite Masons from clandestine chapters, or from protecting legitimate chapters from bogus visitors. Even Michael Jackson's doctor, Conrad Murray, is a clandestine Mason. When he was on trial following Jackson's death, his lawyer presented a picture of Murray in his Masonic gear to the court and to the media to vouch for his character. Murray's Grand Lodge jewel stated his office as Grand Medical Director of the United Most Worshipful Scottish Rite Grand Lodge of Texas, Ancient Free and Accepted Masons. Not only is there no legitimate Grand Lodge known with the position of Grand Medical Director, but there are also no Scottish Rite Grand Lodges. However, the majority of non-Masons, as well as the media, now believe Murray to be a member of the craft. Legitimate or not, when in doubt, contact the General Grand Chapter. As well as protecting its members, the General Grand Chapter also works to promote all aspects of the York Rite. Every year it attends the Conference of Grand Masters of Masons of North America to represent the interests of York Rite Masons all over the world. Similar assemblies are attended internationally as well. The General Grand Chapter also works to debunk misinformation on Freemasonry in general, as well as the York Rite. On its website, www.ramint.org, they provide accurate information about Royal Arch Masonry for its members and the general public. This is a valuable resource to be utilized not only by current Royal Arch Masons, but also aspirants seeking out accurate information on the York Rite. The General Grand Chapter promotes York Rite Masonry on the individual chapter level as well. It provides ready-to-implement programs, free of charge, that individuals can use to make their local chapters even stronger. Education, recruitment, and fundraising are among available topics, and the General Grand Chapter is always available to point a member in the right direction of any York Rite information or aid he may seek. Charity is a very important aspect of the mission of the General Grand Chapter. Its flagship charity, Royal Arch Research Assistance, called RARA for short, is funded by Royal Arch Masons everywhere through their membership in the General Grand Chapter. RARA's primary mission is seeking a cure and treatment for CAPD, Central Auditory Processing Disorder, a condition where the brain has difficulty processing all of the information that the ears hear. According to kidshealth.org, CAPD currently affects about 5% of school-age children, and that number is rising. RARA endows numerous researchers working to cure and treat CAPD, as well as sharing research with and funding other charities with links to CAPD, such as the Hearing Health Foundation, Able Kids, and Autism Speaks. Tax-deductible donations to RARA can be made anytime by going to www.givetorara.org. The General Grand Chapter is also a proud patron of the George Washington Masonic National Memorial in Alexandria, Virginia. This historic site, which houses some of Washington's most precious artifacts, was first conceived in 1852. Through the unified work of the General Grand Chapter, Alexandra Washington Lodge No. 22, President William Howard Taft, and Grand Masters around the country, the cornerstone was laid in 1922. Utilizing a slow and fiscally sound pay-as-you-go process, construction of the interior was finally completed in 1970. The General Grand Chapter was a big part of completing the interior, and the entire 5th floor is dedicated to the Holy Royal Arch. They still support the memorial on an annual basis. On a smaller but no less important scale, the General Grand Chapter is a frequent patron of DeMolay International. In addition to supporting individual projects both financially and with manpower, the General Grand Chapter provides a hospitality room for attendees of the annual session of DeMolay International. This gives the young men and their families a place to unwind, grab a snack, and relax a bit after a long day of changing the world. Second only to charity, education is a key concern of the General Grand Chapter. All members receive Royal Arch Mason Magazine, a quarterly publication full of historical and practical information related to capitular masonry. A jurisdiction-based supplement is available for insertion in each issue, allowing Grand Chapters from around the world to reach their members with their specific information for mere pennies. For a one-on-one education experience, the General Grand Chapter, through a partnership with Piers Vaughn and the Grand Chapter of New York, offers a York Rite Capitular Development course. The self-study course dives deep into the history and philosophy of the Royal Arch, and is available for purchase in hard copy or as an ebook for less than $20 at royalarchcourse.org. Annually, the General Grand Chapter, in conjunction with the General Grand Council and Grand Encampment, host regional York Rite conferences. These events allow York Rite Masons from multiple states to assemble, not only for fun and fellowship, but to share ideas, engage in long-range planning, and work together to make the York Rite better. Outside of the regional conferences, the General Grand Chapter is always available for one-on-one help for any York Rite Mason, as well as providing specific group training upon request. Finally, the General Grand Chapter works to praise, honor, and encourage Royal Arch Masons that are moving the craft forward. Through a series of distinguished awards, the General Grand Chapter recognizes York Rite Masons around the globe for their service towards capitular masonry, their community, and their country. The Veterans Jewel honors those who serve their country with distinction. The Lecturer's Jewel rewards those who have invested significant time in educating others. And the Ephraim Kirby Award honors past Grand Heads who continue to labor in the quarries. In addition, the General Grand Chapter presents a highly selective Distinguished Service Award in multiple levels, a Sweetheart Award for Masonic ladies, and of course, appropriate honors for past Grand High Priests. Since 1797, the General Grand Chapter has served to promote, preserve, and protect Royal Arch Masonry. Starting with only a handful of groups in the Northeast United States, it now covers 43 states, the District of Columbia, and 20 international jurisdictions in 11 countries. God willing, it will continue to spread Royal Arch Masonry throughout the world, ensuring the propagation of true Masonic tenets for generations to come.